Alrighty, yo, what is up, knights? It's just Rick here, back with some more DFO Rush. This time on my female grappler. Now, wait. Now, before you go hit the dislike button like last time, this is gonna be a much different video. In fact, I've got a lot of different things to say about the female grappler, and you may be surprised considering how poignant I was in the last video. But we'll talk about that as we go through here, guys. Okay, so first thing first, you'll notice my character has gone over a little makeover here. Pretty much in all departments. We got gear now. We got, you know, our gauntlet now is actually legitness, and we're starting to almost finish a Halidom set on this character. Turns out it's been pretty easy to do that. I've already gotten this, like, I got a 5-piece set here from before, but then I've also been doing an 80 set on that. We don't have any avatars or creatures or anything like that, but aside from that, we got a more serious build. I know almost in all the DFO Rush videos, you guys are very... I think you guys care about the build a lot more than I do in a lot of cases. So this time we got a much more serious build, which actually does play a role when we actually get into dungeon here, and I'm going to show it off. Again, if you think this is going to be like the last video, I want to apologize actually for the last video as we jump into master difficulty. And we're still trying to farm the Halidom set here, but I guess I kind of want to apologize for the last video. It's not for the things I really said, because I do believe I think I meant what kinds of feelings I was expressing, but maybe some things were not correct. Like, for instance, you know, I didn't use a lot of skills that could be considered as AoEs and stuff like that, so maybe some things weren't correct, but a lot of the things I said, I felt that's the reason why I was like that. But the problem is the DFO Rush series, I don't want it to be that, right? I want people to see this series and maybe find classes that they want to play. And the last video was not like that. So I'm basically gonna redo this female grappler video, and I want to try to show the female grappler in a little bit better light. And to do that, guys, I spent a lot of effort. I wanted to make it up to you guys. So you know what? Kind of like what I was doing with my battle mage, I went and got myself some gear, and we're still working on it. And you know, taking this class a little bit more seriously, I want to show this character in a better light. And you know what? Quite frankly, the build last time, I can see why some people were angry with it, because I just kind of flat out missed some skills entirely. Like, for instance, this is an AoE type grab right here, and you know, that's something that can be used to group enemies together. I didn't do a lot of combos like you guys were expecting, so here you go. Here's some flashy stuff right here. Kind of depends on whether or not the character can be grabbed or not, which is going to determine which combos you're going to want to do right here. Pretty awesome combo right there, and you can actually see that the damage is a lot higher now. So I'm trying to understand the class a little bit more, but like I said in the video, the opinions that I felt with the class were based on initial impressions as I was leveling up. So definitely those are the feelings I felt. I'd never felt so frustrated with the class and all these things. But that being said, guys, the patch that we got for the Guild Pact update and all that actually gave us a lot of changes to the female grappler, and by then, you know, the damage was already done, and I didn't take as keen a look as I probably should have on some of the skills. So some of the things that you're going to notice actually that the female grappler is better at than the male version, which I want to also mention that I think one of the biggest reasons why I had such a big problem with this class in the first place is that, and first of all, I was incorrect about the First Awakening. You can cancel it early now, which is something that was added after the Guild Pact update. But anyway, one thing that I think was maybe a mistake in assuming is that the female grappler and the male grappler I always pictured this class as an inferior version to the male grappler, right? It was not different enough to the male grappler, and therefore it was just inferior in the things that the male grappler could do. And I think that was kind of false for me to say, you know. It's kind of like the female-male grappler, or sorry, female and male brawlers. I feel like the classes are different enough so that you shouldn't be comparing them one-to-one, which I think is, you know, a mistake I might have initially assumed right here. Is that, you know, while we don't have the AoE coverage that the male grappler has, and I will not lie about that, the male grappler definitely has better AoE coverage. He has skills that can cancel into each other. Pierce gathers everybody in one line, and you cancel that. His unstoppable grabs multiple enemies. That's not something that I can argue, but I can argue that the female grappler has a different approach towards kind of AoE coverage, and while it's not as direct as just grabbing enemies together, it is direct in its AoE coverage off of the palm blast, as I call it, the shockwave basically what happens when you grab an enemy who can't be grabbed. And that's where this class, I think, excels with the shockwave and the range damage over the male grappler. That's kind of an alternate way of how she can group enemies together, as we did a very efficient grab right there with the wild cannon spike. And one other thing also is how big the range is on the elbow shock. I'll just say right now, the elbow shock is probably the single defining skill for this class, and both classes have the elbow shock, which is why I love making comparisons between the two classes, the male and female grappler, because they have so many similar skills. But the elbow shock on this class, I'm noticing, has so much more range than I was giving credit for initially. So I'm going to try to hit that right there, canceling very, very quickly. So it in itself, I think I'm most liking it used as a sort of a kind of room clearing attack right here. Try to group these guys up here and drop them down. You can definitely see that the damage and the AoE actually in the room clearing potential is there for the female grappler, more so than I did in the first video I was complaining about in the first video. So it's there. You can do it, guys, and maybe you don't look at it in the same approach kind of way that I did on you don't look at it as a lesser version of the male grappler. You just look at it as a, you know, a separate, its own thing. You have to kind of do it a different way. So, you know, I think the best way to handle it here would be wild cannon spike or something. So, hard to say. These guys, male or female, are pretty annoying to kill. Anyway, yeah, no, the elbow shock is actually a very, very useful skill. And a skill that we didn't use last time, which I will use here, is this rolling attack, which can actually grab every enemy in the way, and that is actually a mistake on my part. So anyway, I've been apologizing a lot in this video because you guys, I was very mean to the female grappler. I didn't sell her enough. Now about the gear, I want to mention here actually, as we it's right here. I'm gonna see if I can grab this guy too. These combos here. About the gear, do I think that the gear helps the class out in any way? In my opinion, of the class, I do think it does that. Definitely, you know, taking a second look at this character and definitely trying to gear out this class to be more relevant to my other classes. It definitely is a fair thing to say that gear is going to help you out in that endeavor, especially when, you know, when it comes to matters of AoE coverage. You know, if it's possible to use one move and hit everybody with that one move and kill them in that one move, that's going to be obviously way better than if it takes two moves and they get out of range and your AoE is all screwed up. So anyway, seeing that coverage right here. Now I want to show something with this boss as an example to the chain connection, which again, like I said, after the all-in-one, or sorry, after the guild packed update, you got chain connection, or basically new skills, which I didn't show off too greatly. Basically what happens is if an enemy can't be grabbed like this Titan Breaker here, if you can't be grabbed normally, what you can do, however, is chain your grabs pretty well. And this is one thing that I feel like the female grappler excels over the male grappler in you know, maybe the male grappler definitely has better AoE coverage, but this class I think can kill bosses and people who can't be grabbed like this guy much, much better. So we're going to go in here and start the chain. And you keep going from there. If you could keep going in the air, or you could do a chain combo from the ground. And as long as you use your chain connection, you can use all of them back to back. And that's something I think that the male grappler does have some trouble on. If you have, or actually the female grappler before this, before she had the chain connection, when an enemy was grab cannon, all you did was, I guess, palm blast, as I call it. Keep using the palm blast, palm blast, palm blast, palm blast. Now it's a much more faster kind of rotation. Use palm blast and then cancel it. And you can also cancel into, like I said last time, you can cancel into the air type grabs as well and chain those as well. So you can basically chain a bunch of grabs against people who normally can't be grabbed, and that's something that really is only efficient for boss type enemies, I'd say. It's the only time you're really gonna bother using it, and you know, it's something that I think that the male grappler is deficient at, that the female grappler definitely does better. So there you go. There's something that the female grappler has over the male. Ooh, get destroyed. Good AoE right there. I'm loving that First Awakening and the animation speed. Now that's still a problem that I think is persistent. Some of the animations you don't want to do because they have long animation, but even things like this one right here have a shorter animation than they used to. It's doing the big slam at the end faster than it used to. Wild Cannon Spike is still pretty dang slow on both, you know, but still maybe worth it for the AoE coverage that it covers. I mean, I almost killed everybody in the room, so, you know. And this one, like I said, didn't show this at all, but it's probably going to kill everybody here, and that's good enough for me. That's all I wanted to do anyway, so killed everybody there. So anyway, guys, I hope I was able to show the female grappler in a better light. Instead of just complaining about the class, let me show what the class can actually do, and maybe look at it differently. You know, when I looked at the female grappler before, I kept comparing it to the male grappler. That's all I said. You can look back at it. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to keep it up now because I don't want to sell the female grappler so short like I did. But maybe not look at it as its own entity, right? Stop comparing it to other classes because it does stuff differently. And as you guys can see, I was able to handle dungeons with my ample gear here as my almost full Halidom set. Was able to handle the dungeons just as fast as almost all the other characters that I've done in the DFORUSH series. So again, sorry for you female grappler mains. Even if I still, you know, I'm not going to say that I've warmed up to the class just yet, but I am going to say that maybe I wasn't looking at it at all the benefits, and I was just so taken aback by how my impression was of the class initially that I didn't look at it after all of its updates and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, hope I was able to show off the female grappler better, and sorry for the last video. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you nights later.